Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host. I am Clay Douglas. I am the Free American. And we got a new year coming up. Made it through another year. Amazing, amazing. Without being killed. Still surviving. Still getting by. Things are getting worse for a lot of people out there. And 2013 is going to be, I believe, it's going to be a critical point. Some of the people that I've communicated with and talk about also believe it's a critical point. And it's a critical point to point out who we are fighting here, who is behind this misery, this crashing of the economy, who is behind all of this. Well, I'm going to be talking about that, and I'll bring you some other people, like people that have run for governor of various states, people in the intelligence industry, and we're also going to hear from an insider at the DHS what is coming for Americans. Now, I've tried to tell you this. I have tried to tell you this before in true face of FEMA, my video, which is up there and it's available and you can get it. You can watch it tomorrow, next day. True face of FEMA, they told you where we're going to need troops here because some of the American people just aren't going to follow orders, and that's what they're setting up for you. But before I go into that, one of the ways they have come after is to try to crash our economy, and they also buy up the companies and control the companies, the media companies that tell you what information that you can get. And then you've got people like Verizon out there that'll up your bill by $150. You know, if you go over a certain little invisible line there. But how about this? I want to tell you very briefly here about Solvay Unlimited. It's 4G voice, text, and data. And when you share Solvay with others and they join, you get paid. That's because your recommendation to your friends and family is the best marketing there is. The other service providers are spending billions on advertising, trying to get new customers. But we'd rather spend the money rewarding you for bringing new people into Solvay. It makes a lot more sense. Now, Solvay Unlimited 4G voice, text, and data is $49 a month. The cell phone plan is carried on a major network. Service is great. No drop calls, endless waiting for connection. You can surf the web, text your friends, and call nationwide as much as you want with no extra charges. Now, there's also a affiliate. You can become an affiliate and share this with your friends. And it's a compensation plan next to none, second to none. The two-tier affiliate program solves is giving you the opportunity to earn more than $20,000 a month, and you don't even talk. We're not even talking about the bonus plan where you could own more. If you go to my website, freeamerican.com, click on or go to solove.com, type in Free American. It'll take you to the page. You can read all about it, learn all about it, and sign up. All right, thank you. Now, I know Steve Quayle. I don't know him personally, but he's one of the few people that are still on the internet and on the other channels that really give you the truth. There's another one in there that I just saw somebody putting him down, so he must be hitting close to the mark, and that's Doug Hagman. Doug says, after a lengthy and self-imposed informational blackout, my high-level Department of Homeland Security contact, known as Rosebud, emerged with new non-public information about plans being discussed and prepared for implementation by the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, in the near future. It's important to note that this blackout was directly related to the aggressive federal initiative of identifying and prosecuting leakers. At least those leaks and leakers are not sanctioned by the executive office. Due to the circumstances, my source, Hagman says, exercised an abundance of caution to avoid compromising a valuable line of communication until he had enough information he felt was significant to risk external contact. The following information is the result of an in-person contact with between this author and Rosebud within the last 48 hours. With his permission, the interview was digitally recorded and relevant portions of the contact provided in a conversational format for easier reading. This is what I'm reading from right now. And by the way, this is all linked on my website. He asked if, do you have... we're calling him Rosebud or RB. And Doug asked him, do I have your permission to record this conversation? You do. He says, I've received a lot of email from people wondering where you went and why you've been so quiet. As I told you earlier, things are very dicey. Weird things began to happen before the election and have continued since. Odd things, a clampdown of sorts. I started looking and I found this that's been redacted, and that shook me up. I'm not the only one that found something. So there's surveillance of people within DHS by DHS, so that explains the cloaker and dagger stuff for this meeting. Now, folks, what I've been telling you is that we are in a war, and basically they have made, in almost every country, they have made the patriots, people that care about their country, that want to keep their country, into the rebels, into the Al-Qaedas, into whatever thing they want to, if they wanted to go along with them and come in on the banking scam, basically. And that's exactly what we're going through. The banks are ripping us off, and they're using the countries that we've gone to war with are the countries that may not want to be in that federal banking system. Now, if that's true, then the people here that are talking about the IRS, the people here that are talking about the Constitution, the people here in this country are being the militias, although it's everybody male between the ages of 18 and 45 is a member of the militia. The governor can call him up. U.S. code. But we've been demonized. Militia. I started the militia in New Mexico. Yes, sir, I did that. I did that because and I did it in the governor's office. I did it with the governor. The governor came into my house. The governor, we talked about this, and I launched the Free American, and that was in the hands of every senator, congressman in New Mexico. I took it to the state capitol and I put it in everybody's mailbox so everybody knew. Not exactly a terrorist organization. Information and as legitimate as any press out there. Now, we're coming into this last stage of the world government. What I've been doing for 20 some odd years is telling you that the government, the mafia, the press, this is a coalition put together by a rich man to control what you know, to program you with that one-eyed beast in your living room. This is why I'm bringing you this information. I'm going to skip to the thing. The insider, Rosebud, said, you better recheck your notes, compare them with some of the events leading up to the election. I think you'll find that a full-blown campaign of deception took place to make certain Obama got back into office. The polls, media, and a few incidents that happened in the 2 months before the election. I guess if people are looking for some big event they can point to and say, aha, for verification, well, then I overestimated people's ability to tell them what that they're being when they're being lied to. Now, take a look at the threats to Obama. Start here. The accusation of racism. Then look at the polls, and especially the judicial decisions about voter fraud, ID laws, bought and paid for, or where there was any potential for problems, the judges got the message loud and clear. Then look at voter fraud, and that's not a peep from the Republicans. Nothing. The second term was a done deal in September. This was planned. Frankly, the Obama team knew they had it sewn up long before Election Day. Benzai could have derailed them, but the fix was in. So I never saw anything on my end to suggest a ready-made solution had to be implemented. People better pay close attention over the next few months. First of all, there won't be any meaningful deal about a fiscal crisis. This is planned. I mean, the lack of the deal is planned. In fact, it's necessary to pave the way for what is the short-term agenda. Now, Doug Hagman said, wait, you're DHS, not a Wall Street insider. He says, so you think they are separate agendas? That's funny. The coming collapse of the U.S. dollar is a done deal. It's been in the works for years, decades, and this is one of the most important cataclysmic events that DHS is preparing for. I almost think that DHS was created for that purpose alone, to fight Americans, not protect them, right here in America, but that's not the only reason. There's the gun issue, too. We don't have a lot of time. Tonight our meeting as well as a country. I mean, I have heard with my own ears plans being made that originate from the White House that involve the hierarchy of DHS. You got to know how DHS works at the highest levels. It's Jared and Napolitano, with Jared organizing all of the plans and approaches. She's the one in charge, at least from my point of view. That's what I am seeing. Obama knows what's going on and has say, but it seems that Jared has the final say, not the other way around. It's screwed up. This really went into high gear since the election. But it's a train wreck at mid-management, but it is more effective at the lower levels. A lot of police departments are being gifted with federal funds with strings attached. The money is flowing out to the municipal. That money is flowing out to the municipal police departments faster than they can be counted. They're using his money to buy tanks. Well, not real tanks, but you know what I mean. DHS is turning police into soldiers. And by the way, there's been a lot of communication recently between Napolitano and Pistol, the TSA head. They are planning to use TSA agents in tandem with local police for certain operations that are being planned right now. Is that like body cavity searches that they've got the police doing on innocent women? This is so important. You cannot even begin to imagine. If nothing else out of this, please make sure you tell people to watch the TSA and their increasing involvement against the American public. They are stooges who will be the ones to carry out certain plans when the dollar collapse and gun compensation begins. Your intelligence insider, he knows that we are facing a planned economic collapse. This was written about, and he said you wrote about this in your articles about Benghazi, or at least that's what I got in the latest article. So why the surprise? Well, there's a lot here, so let's take it step by step if you don't mind. Okay, but I'm not going to give it to you in baby steps, big boy steps. This is what I'm hearing. Life for the average American is going to change significantly, and not the change people expect. First, DHS is preparing to work with police departments and the TSA to respond to civil uprisings that will happen when there's a financial panic, and there will be one, maybe as early as this spring, when the dollar won't get you a gumball. I'm not sure what the catalyst will be, but I've heard rumblings about a derivative crisis as well as an oil embargo. I don't know, that's not my department, but something's going to happen to collapse the dollar, which has been in the works since the 1990s. Now, if it doesn't happen as soon as this, it's because there are people, real patriots, who are working to prevent this, so it's a fluid dynamic. That doesn't change your preparation. Now, folks, that is what I have tried to do. That's what we need to talk about, the preparations. I came up with the idea of Liberty Villages. That's what we should do. Liberty Villages is you should create one in your own neighborhood by talking to your neighbors and tell them this is what's happening. This is a fiscal cliff that they're talking about, and they're planning on pushing you off of it. You need to tell them this. And the whole idea is if you can generate your own electricity and provide your own food, you're going to avoid the disruptions that's going to come when they shut this whole grid down. And that's all they got to do. They got you so dependent on this. You're like hogs being led into a pen there so they can be slaughtered, or the cattle in the trove. That's more of the aggressors, the people that are doing this to you. Call you cattle, and call you goyim cattle, call you derogatory about you, and especially you Christians. You got a savior there. You know, there's a person that's giving you the Jewish side of the version here. Now, you've got to get ready here, folks. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm going to re-up the Liberty Village website, but not with any one Liberty Village in mind. How you can work together, where you can find the resources, where you can find the seeds, where you can find the backup food, where you can find the generators. That's what you need to know. I'll try to give you that in a nice condensed version on libertyvillages.org. Gentleman is asking what my book about Lucifer's Legends is about. It's about your Bible. It's about the characters your Bible wrote about. It's about the demonization of some of those people, and the takeover, the infiltration of the religions. The Jewish religion was the controller. They worked for Rome. The rabbis worked for Rome to enslave their own people. They're doing the same thing to you now. There ain't no difference. The money changers in the temple are still taking your tokens there. You gave them $1 billion. You gave them $1 billion. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, you contributed to that class that's planning on selling you out, already sold you out. Already sold you out. And yeah, I thought Lucifer was good. In my book, which was science fiction anyway, Lucifer was the good guy, and Yahweh, the so-called Jewish God of the first 2,000 years, he went crazy. He went crazy, insane, and set up the whole Jewish satanic religion. I think that was Satan pretending to be God. Lucifer may be the good guy and was demonized and kicked out of what I call the Earthship Heaven. And, you know, I'm tired of hearing this person here. How about that? Okay, now let's go on, folks. Let's go on to explain to you what... Now, I've written science fiction books about this. 10 years ago, I told you kind of what there was coming here, what the concentration camps, the detention centers were coming. Now, here is what the preparations that are being made. If you're not making the preparations to, hey, get off the grid, You know, get on this new cell plan. That'll help you make a little bit of money. Then you can stock up on some seeds and connections with other people. You need to be networking. But while you're doing that, the DHS is planning something else. The DHS is pre-positioning assets in strategic areas near urban centers all across the country. Storage depots, armories, even detainment facilities known as FEMA camps. FEMA does not even know that the facilities are earmarked for detainment by executive orders, at least not in the traditional sense that they were intended. And people drive by some of these armories every day without even giving them a second look. Commercial and business real estate across the country are being bought up and leased for storage purposes, a very low profile. At any rate, I am hearing, says the DHS operative, that the plan from on high is to let chaos play out for a while, making ordinary citizens beg for troops to deploy to restore order. But it's all organized to make them appear as good guys. When the real head knocking will take place, that's when the real head knocking will take place. We're talking travel restrictions, which should be no problem because the gas will be rationed or unavailable. The TSA will be in charge of travel, at least be a big part of it, and they will be commissioned, upgraded from their current status. Jared and Obama, as well as a few others in government, are working to create a perfect storm too. This is time be a coincidence with the new gun laws. New federal gun laws? Yes. Count on criminalization to possess just about every gun you can think of. Not only restrictions, but actual criminalizations of possessing a banned firearm. I've heard this directly from the highest of my sources. Plans were made in the 90s, but were withheld. Now it's a new day, a new time, and they are riding the wave of emotion from Sandy Hook, which, by the way, tragic as it was, stinks to high heaven. I mean, there are many things wrong here, but the first reports are fast disappearing. The narrative being changed. There's something wrong with Sandy Hook, but if you write it, you'll be called a kook or worse. Sandy Hook, there's something very wrong there. But I'm hearing that won't be the final straw. There'll be another they think is necessary. Another shooting? Yes. Well, that would mean that they were complicit. That's one way of looking at it. Are they? Doug Hagman asked. Or were they? And Rosebud says, do your own research. Nothing I say short of bringing you photographs and documents will convince anyone, and even then it's like deleted in the wind. I'm telling you that what I'm telling you is that DHS, the TSA, and certain, but not all, law enforcement agencies are going to be elbow deep in riot control in response to the economic incident. At that same time, or close to it, gun confiscation will start on a voluntary basis using federal registration forms, then an amnesty, then the kicking in of doors starts. Before or at the same time, you know, of all the talk of lists, you know, the red and blue lists everyone made fun of, well, they exist, although I don't know about their colors, but there are a lot of political dissidents maintained by DHS, and names are coordinated with the executive branch. But you know what? They did not start with Obama. They've been around in one form or another for years. The difference is that today they are much more organized, and I'll tell you what the vocal opponents of the politics of the global elite, the bankers and the opponents of anything standing in their way, well, they are on the top of the list to people to be handled. Handled? As the situation worsens, some might be given a chance to stop their vocal opposition. Some will, others won't. I suppose they are on different lists. Others won't have that chance. By that time, though, it'll be chaos and people will be in full defensive mode. They will be hungry, real hunger like we've never experienced before. They will use our hunger as leverage. They will use medical care as leverage. And they hope to make it happen. Will this happen all at once? They hope to make it happen at the same time. Big cities first, with sections being set apart from the rest of the country. Then the rural areas. There are two different plans for geographical considerations, but all will come together. All right. Let's wait a minute here.
I was born on the wings of an eagle in this one-time wonderful land of free people. I was planted right straight down on a piece of sanctified ground that was written about in my holy Bible. I was raised in the backwoods of Virginia. I took my first 2 steps and discovered Carolina. I was a natural free-born child, growing up green and wild. I was one of the original sons of liberty, y'all. Now I'm a free man. Nobody better tread on me. Nobody better try to say that I'm his boy, 'cause I'm a son of liberty. Yes, I'm a free man, and I'm here to make some history. I won't compromise with tyranny. I won't tolerate attacks upon my cup of tea, 'cause I'm a free man. Nobody better tread on me. I said nobody better tread on me. I learned to fight in the war of independence, where I defended the rights of all of my descendants. I finally earned my wings to fly on the famous 4th of July, when I proved to the world that I could make a difference. Was temporarily defeated in the Southland, when them federal boys invaded God's great land. And since the war between the states, they tried to keep us all federal slaves. But you know, me and the Lord in the South, we're gonna rise again, friend. 'Cause I'm a free man. Nobody better tread on me. Nobody better try to say that I'm his boy, 'cause I'm a son of liberty. Yes, I'm a free man, and I'm here to make some history. I won't compromise with tyranny. I won't tolerate no statutory slavery, 'cause I'm a free man. Nobody better tread on me. Nobody better tread on me. It's time we see that the enemy's within us. And even right today, they're trying to Washington, deceive us. They thought they had us all surrounded up in that Montana township, but all they did was create a couple more million of us. Yes, I'm a free man.